Brother Dave, with that, I turn it over to you.
So I was wondering the other day, y'all think legacy is still a thing? Like, do young folks care about that and like their family name? And we did touch on this last time. Like, old Rob Smoker, the whole Smoker clan is pretty, be neighborly type of folks and do what you can for folks, and
it's how you were raised.
Yeah, and whatnot. So, I'm still that way. And old Rob Smoker, that's where Smoker Rising came from. He could fix about anything. Maybe not the right way. He'd always say there's the right way, the wrong way, and then there's Smoker Rising, and it'll do in a pinch.
It'll work out.
Yeah, but I've always been, like that's been important to me. Carry that on, and back home, a lot of folks know the Smoker name, and I mean, sure, not everybody's a fan, but for the most part, you're not going to find too many folks.
Well, we'll find them that don't. We'll fight them.
That's right. But that's something I've been hoping for is down here, like, people don't hear the name Smoker and be like, oh, those deadbeats.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I was just, because now everything is 5 minutes of fame, YouTube creators, and I think that's how I got onto it. I was watching some dick wagon being a real jackass, and you remember the show Jackass?
Oh, yeah.
But the BAM guy that was always screwing with his parents, I'm like, man, good grief, they must have. I love my kids, but if they was pulling some of that shit, I'd probably smack somebody with a shovel.
And the magic of TV on some of that.
Yeah, I don't know. He's a pretty big piece of shit nowadays, though.
I thought he got sober and straight.
I think he just does that every once in a while. Quits drinking for, an afternoon.
He passes
Steve-O's
the one.
He got sober and straight.
I will say this, Dave. I know you say young folks. I don't know that anybody probably I think where it really turns, where legacy becomes a thing, is when you become a parent. And I think when you become a parent and you know that you've produced another generation that, God willing and the creek don't rise, will outlive you, that you're going to do everything you can to impart those values on your children.
How about that?
So I will say that for me, I had it a little bit early. When I got done with law school, my parents thought I would stay in Michigan. And my whole thing was, it's not home. And I opened my own shop on 4th Street in Huntingburg because Huntingburg and the people that were a part of Huntingburg when I grew up gave me a childhood and an ability to do a lot of things, to play soccer and play baseball and basketball and all that stuff like that. Like that stuff to me, when I came home, I wanted to do that stuff. I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to do those things because somebody else did it before me.
Sure.
And so the legacy part, where it has grown most probably recently, is not only the kids. My kids are still pretty young. Like there's a different conversation you can have with the eldest Smoke boy.
Oh yeah.
That where he starts to understand, and they see it from example too, about how you treat and you do other things and around people. But when my mom passed, like I never ever in 100 years would have thought that the MFL Foundation would be a real thing. Like I wouldn't have done it. But for me, everybody deals with grief in a different way. And some people get in that deep, dark space. And I'm not to say like I wasn't there for a while, but like part of doing the MFL Foundation is because I'm a firm believer in you die twice. You die the day your physical body leaves and your soul goes to wherever God decides it needs to go. And then the last day somebody speaks your name. And to me, like that profound thing on me is if I can do that for my mother, my children will know who and what my mom stood for. And they're getting a great, like my dad, God love Papa Frank, because he has like his grandchildren absolutely love and adore him. They love Papa. They love going and seeing him when he comes up for softball games or he comes up and does that stuff. So like they're getting that experience now, but they didn't get it with my mom. So when we start doing this and every July the kids get to put on a polo shirt and ride around in a golf cart, they don't understand what it's for, but someday they'll know.
Yeah,
and that's what building that foundation like is all about for me. But like the other thing with the legacy part, like why continue to coach and why do that stuff? Like to me, like somebody else did that prior to me. And like I think it's a big thing to be able to do it, to coach these kids that go on and go do other things. But the cool thing is when those kids that come back and are like, hey, I want to coach, or hey, I want to, be a part of it, or I want to help out. Like, that's a cool thing. So I think it's huge. I'm a big proponent of it. And I think that I live my life thinking about what that legacy will be someday. I hope it's a good one. I hope when somebody says, those Lindemann kids are, and I saw, I don't know if he's a friend of the program, but we all know him, Brett Bardwell. I saw Mr. Bardwell, I don't know where it was, and he goes, I absolutely love your daughter. She's the sweetest little girl. She's great. Like, and that right there, there's times where I want to boot my daughter out of the house because she's just being like her mother. But like you get something like that and you're like, holy shit, like that hit you in the feels. Like everything I've ever accomplished in my life doesn't mean anything compared to somebody who I had in school, who my daughter has had him now a couple years at Holland and was like, hey, absolutely love her. She's great. She listens. She does. Like, that's cool stuff. And that's part of the legacy thing. So I'm a huge, 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 huge legacy guy.
I get it all the time too. And it shocks me.
Well, it's because of their mother.
Because I was a shit. I was a turd back in the day.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. You say that. You're going to spin this yarn and
spinning yarn.
You're going to try to make it like you were this rebel without a cause. But deep down inside, you had a good heart.
Yeah.
You have a good heart.
I'll buy that.
And there's the difference between the kids that were just shitheads and that were just pure shitheads to people that you knew. Like, if somebody told you to knock it off, you would knock it off and then you'd go back to it later.
Yeah.
But like some of these kids would just be like, hey, you, I ain't going to stop doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. So that's like, I have, the kids go spend the night somewhere, or the kids, we go to parent teacher conference, and I'll be completely honest, be the first one to say, like, when they were little, the first couple parent teacher conferences, I was scared to death. Like, oh God, like, ugh, what are they going to say? You know what I mean? And then it's just nothing. It's always been nothing but positivity. They're a pleasure to have in class. They're good leaders. Great learners. Like the youngest one, her strive to read and like all this shit.
Yeah.
I'm just completely like, whose goddamn kid is that? You know what I mean? Like that is wild to me, because it product of COVID and like that whole, I really thought it was going to be tough. You know what I mean? Because like the new curriculum that we had to do during COVID, and oh my God, they're going to be this farther behind and all this shit. But then whenever they do their iLearn and they don't do iStep anymore, they do the iLearn and their iRead or whatever like that, and they're all at grade level or exceeding that, and you're thinking, holy shit! Like, hey, we maybe got things going the way we should, and they spend the night at somebody's house, or they go to a baseball camp, or like the coach tells us this or whatever, and they're like, hey, your kids, whatever you're doing, it's working. And it's like, but then you subconsciously think like, what are you really doing? That's, in instilling that, but it's just, I think it all starts 100% with the legacy thing. Like it is, I was raised a certain way. My wife was raised a certain way. And we were all raised by like legitimately good people.
Yeah.
And, the golden rule was always something like that was really important to my family. Like with my grandparents, my parents, down to me, like I got bullied a lot when I was a kid, because I was a fat kid.
Big back. We don't say fat kid.
Yeah, I was a big back. I was a big backtivity guy. Big back back in the day.
High five for big.
You know what I mean? And we talked about the old Nike swoosh on the sweatpants. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted my grandma to sew Nike swooshes on my sweatpants because that's what all the cool kids were wearing. And I was just wearing the old Fruit of the Looms or the jerseys. You know what I mean? Because my parents knew he's just going to destroy those $50 sweatpants. He doesn't need those nice ones. He's just going to deal with it. And I dealt with it. And I think that makes me appreciate a lot of things. Now, am I very fortunate for the things that my parents have done for me to make me who I am today? Yeah. Would I be screwed without my parents? Yeah. You know, my wife, same thing. Her family, very, very, very influential in her and the way she is. And like, we just try to do the right thing for our kids. Like sometimes when our kids come home and they're bummed out or they, you know, they say they had a bad day or, you know, this kid, you know, so-and-so Max my son is a giant. Like, you know, there's no hiding it. Like he's going to be in 7th grade and he's 6 foot tall and $120, $130, or two bills. You know what I mean? He's not a
$130. $130 passed that boy up a long time ago.
225, 230, whatever. He's a big dude and he's strong. He's a grown ass man, like the way he looks as a ripe old age of 12. You know, and he's dealing with some of the same things that I dealt with in the past. And I always tell him, I said, hey man, just knock their teeth out, you know? Like if you got a problem, fix it. You know what I mean? Like you're the only one that has the chance and the power to fix it.
Yep.
And then here comes the voice of reason. His mom is like, bro, shitty people are always going to be shitty people,
and shitty people get what they deserve.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah. One day they will get theirs, you know, and like so many people that we have friends with that are also parents of like little kids and stuff, you know, like my girls making sure Zoe gets off the bus. Like, my boy, Maxwell and Eleanor, you know, hanging out with Wild Bill when he was just a little feller and there wasn't anybody else to hang out with. You know, it's like just raising general good kids. Now, who knows what the future holds, but you can only do what you can do when you have the opportunity to do it. So legacy to me means like, my grandpa Bill knew everybody. My dad knew everybody. Everybody knows who my dad is. Everybody knows who I am. I went to an interview one time and a woman that was interviewing me told me, you know, sometimes knowing everyone and everyone knowing you is not a good thing in a job acquisition environment. And I told her, if that was the case, then I would never be able to work anywhere.
Yeah.
Because it's just a small town thing. It's just who we are. And I embrace it. Like I like it. You know what I mean? Like I've never met a stranger. You know, and like my son is the same way. Like when you talk about, we'll go to a Bombers game or we'll go to a high school basketball game or we'll go to like a public event in our community, you know, and like you never know who you're going to see him with.
Yeah.
He could be hanging out with this group or he could be hanging out with these guys or whatever. And that was just how I was. Like I had friends everywhere, you know what I mean? Like not good friends, you know what I mean? Like you have your core
best friends,
your best buddy, your squad, you know what I mean? Like I had that, but I also had acquaintances everywhere. And I think as far as like the legacy thing goes for me, like that's something very important, that like the ability to think outside the box and like, you know, hey, that guy seems like a good dude. I'll go introduce myself to him. You know what I mean? Just knowing, having that network. I don't know. Legacy is a big thing for me. And with my son, like I have one son, and I think to date, you know, we're doing things right.
Hell yeah.
Hopefully.
Well, and I don't want it to be like my dad never disciplined us because
You're a Lindemann.
it was always
No.
that's
You're a good dude. You're a good
that's
people.
not what good people do.
Right.
And I think that like I don't want that to be taken off
Like general morals,
yeah.
standards.
Well, I think where it comes from, you parent your kids. Some of the best parenting advice I ever got, friend of the program, Andy McHugh, said you just have to be involved. You just have to ask questions. And like I try every day when I see my kids after the day, hey, did you have a good day? Hey, what'd you do today? Who'd you play with? Hey, what'd you do? Like even Rhett Man at his 2.5 years, guy doesn't have a big vocabulary, but hey, buddy, how was your day? Good. It could have been terrible. I don't know. He doesn't. But like just instilling that. But
I shit my pants and finger painted with it on the walls. But other than that, it was a great day.
It was a great day. Yeah. Kid bit me. I bit him back. Like shit's good, Dad. But it is. And I think that you surround yourself. Probably the best advice I used to give clients all the time. Now, a lot of them had drug problems or other problems, but like people, places, and things. You be around
A noun?
the right and good people. Stay away from the bad places and stay away from the bad things. There's no reason why you can't be successful.
We were literally just having this conversation the other day about I'll leave them nameless. But there's two boys that we know very well. And their dad he's a f***ing wildcat. He's always been a wildcat.
He's talking about you.
And his mom and their mom, she's always been conservative, super chill. Really have only seen it like we've been together, her and I have been friends since we were in 6th grade. And it's like I've never really even seen her like super pissed, like maybe once or twice since we've known each other. And I said, isn't it wild to see those two boys, mostly the older one, favor their mother's like demeanor more than their father? Because their mother sometimes has to reel their father back in, you know. And it's just like they're just genuinely good kids and they see the big picture and they don't get caught up in this I don't know how to say it, but like that whole like keeping up with the Joneses bullshit. Like they are fortunate people, but like they're still normal. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You ever met those kids that are just kids? You know what I mean? Like there's no other way to stab it. Like there's no other way to pin it down. Like you hear a story about, oh yeah, so and so did this, you know, and you're like, oh yeah, shocker. You know what I mean? Like they're just turds, and that's something that you have to reinstill. Like I have to reinstill that into my kids, the two older ones, a lot. That's like, guys, look, like you're going to see this a lot. And the older that you get, the more it's going to happen. And it all comes back to the whole thing. Like shitty people are going to be shitty people and they always will be.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Legacy is a big thing for me, but like in general, just doing the right thing, instilling the golden rule, and just being a good dude will pay off big time, I think.
Dave, we hijacked your topic with both of us,
No, I like it.
but I mean, it's your topic. So what does legacy,
I already went over mine before we got off on your tangent.
oh, sorry.
Ways.
Yeah. Like just the smoker eyes thing,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
being
yeah.
able to
Oh, that's right.
instill in your boys the ability to, you know, to do those things.
Problem solved.
Yeah, problem
Hey,
solve.
but I will say, anybody now, Middle Smoke's in the room here. He's still got some seasoning to do.
Yeah.
He's got some seasoning to do yet.
Good
But
kid.
He's a good
He's got
kid.
your weird traits.
Yep.
That's for sure.
That's for sure.
That's for sure.
But I tell you what, though, like in the coaching world, there's been few kids that have come along that don't give you any problems, don't backtalk you about anything. They show up, they do their job, and they work hard at it. And Wyatt Smoker is one of them for sure. And like, that's what's funny because I obviously got to meet you a little bit, spent more time with Wyatt early on, and then spent more time with your crazy ass.
Yep.
But I tell you what,
I see very minimal current traits of Dave in current Wyatt now. Does that make sense? Like, I don't see.
I don't know. I don't. Is that like a backhanded compliment?
No, it's not. Like, do you see do you see me now and Max Masoner now? Absolutely not. No way.
There's certain.
I'm getting a lot of head nods from the back row back here.
He doesn't necessarily have your personality.
No, he
now
ain't
that
out
you
getting
have.
wasted and being a turd, you know, like I am, his big fat loser dad. But what I'm saying is like,
This is young Dave
never
with his
mind.
dad.
You're right.
Wyatt is young Dave with his dad, learning what dad has to say. Dad's instilled a lot of that stuff.
I feel like Wyatt carries a lot on his shoulders to himself, and probably carries more than he should there sometimes.
Yeah, I'd say probably so.
Just kind of keeps it in.
Pretty big critic of himself.
Yeah.
Well, but he is too.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
He's very much his, like everybody says, you are your toughest critic.
Oh, 100%.
But I don't know. Now, Wild Bill, boy,
He's a wildcat.
he's still young yet.
Yeah.
I'm just glad he's gotten over his heart attack. When Zoe told me that,
He's still wet behind the ears.
When Zoe told me that with all sincerity, I was like, honey, I'm pretty sure Brother Dave would have told me if Wild Bill had a heart attack. And he might have been the first 7-year-old to have one. But I mean, I can text Dave and ask, but I'm pretty sure Wild Bill hasn't had a heart attack yet.
Oh, Wild Bill.
Oh, he's something else.